Turn it up. It's the Record Machine with your host, Jimmy Howell.
Penitentiary bound, that's what they say. He was born a loser from cradle to the grave. But don't cry, my baby, daddy's little girl, while daddy's on the inside world. And these bars can't keep me from you, and these walls can't stop the way I feel. Penitentiary bound, that's all I've ever heard. Ever since I was a young boy, they said I'd never learn. But don't cry, my baby, daddy's little girl. Your daddy's on the inside of a wicked world. No, these bars can't keep me from you, and these walls can't stop my dreams of you. Cold, all the nights alone, I miss my happy home, holding my baby tight. She's sleeping in my arms. All of my life's mistakes, I've stolen how many years? Yes, I broke a lot of hearts, and I spared no one tears. I'm penitentiary bound, that's all I've ever known. Pacing these four walls, lonely as a dead man's stroll. But these bars can't keep me from you, and these walls can't stop the way I feel. No, these walls can't stop my dreaming of you. In this hell, my penitentiary, in this hell called penitentiary, in this hell, my penitentiary.
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome singer-songwriter Derek Davis to the program.
How are you doing?
I'm doing good. How are you doing?
Pretty good. Checking in.
Your big break, obviously, was when you were with the band Babylon AD. I mean, you guys were out in, like, what, the late 80s, 88, 89, and you got discovered by Clive Davis, or he just signed you?
Yeah, what happened was, we were doing some showcases around L.A., and he had heard about it, so he wanted to see us. So he set up a private showcase in Los Angeles, and we went, we played 7 songs for him. And as soon as we were done playing, he got up off the couch and opened up his arm and said, "Welcome to the family, boys," and we got a record deal.
Really?
It all happened pretty quick, We had just moved down to L.A., we were probably there for less than a week when he called us up and said he wanted to see us, like, in 2 days, And by the time, we're from the San Francisco Bay Area, so by the time we got everything set up, it was like 2 days later, and yeah, so it was pretty cool, to get signed that fast as soon as you moved to Los Angeles.
And what was the song that, like, put it over the top, you think?
I couldn't really tell you what the song was that put it over the top, but I know that he was particularly fond of, like, a song called "Desperate" that was on the first album, and another one, "Kid Goes Wild," and he liked the whole album. So, but I remember him talking about "Desperate" quite a bit.
You currently have 3 solo albums out, and the new one is called Resonator Blues. Can you talk about that a little bit?
Well, yeah. I've always wanted to kind of do a blues album that I did all myself. After the soul album that I put out about a year and a half ago, then Babylon AD put out a record, so I went back to hard rock after that. And then the whole time I'm writing this blues album, at the same exact time as all this other stuff is going on. And I was in a band called Moonshine for a few years, and it was like a southern rock, Allman Brothers meets Leonard Skinner type of thing. And it was really bluesy, harmonica, piano, slide guitar, and I'd always wanted to kind of get back into that. So I had some songs sitting around that I'd written and that I'd recorded, but I really didn't have enough songs. I maybe had 4 or 5 of them. And so the more I listened to the songs, the more I wrote some more, in other words, in a batch. So when I came up with about 12 songs, and I knew I had a good record, and I played the demos for a few people and stuff that I trust their opinion. And it was totally positive. It was pretty blown away, like, wow, you better get this out there. So I just kept recording until I had exactly what I wanted, this kind of sound that I wanted. I didn't want it to be just like all slide guitar and all harmonica or all electric or all piano or something. So I wanted it to be really diverse, a little bit of Americana, a little bit of folk, but mainly blues, and I listened to a lot of old stuff like Son House and Robert Johnson and Elmore James and Muddy Waters and stuff like that. So I got a lot of influences like that. But then I like bands like the Allman Brothers. So there's a cross between all that kind of stuff. It's really really American blues.
And you play a lot of the instruments on this new album, correct?
Yeah, I play all the guitars and all the bass. Did a little bit of drums, some keyboards and stuff, but mainly, yeah, I'm a singer, but I've always used my instrument as a tool to write songs, and I'm pretty decent on the guitar, so I didn't really feel like I needed to hire anybody or bring anybody in because it's my sound and it's my vision, what I want it to be. So it's always kind of hard to sit there in the recording studio and try to tell somebody what you hear. You know what I mean? It's a lot easier for me just to pick up the guitar and just do what I hear. You know what I mean?
Right.
So yeah, it's just a lot faster and it's a lot easier. You don't want to spend a lot of time in the studio, but if sometimes when you work with somebody, you could sit there for an hour and a half while they're trying to get a lead down. And in my mind, I'm going, man, I know exactly how this should go. Give me that guitar. I could play in 5 minutes. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's great making records, and I like playing most of the instruments myself because then it comes out the sound that I want it to instead of somebody else's sound. You know what I mean?
So is it easy for you to make that transition? Like you do some music with your other band, and then you come back to doing the blues and stuff. Is it easier for you, like creative wise, to? Yeah,
it's just like when I made my first album, Revolt, which is a hard rock record. Danny De La Rosa, my guitar player in Babylon AD, he played a couple songs and wrote a couple songs with me. And Eric Pateco, bassist, he played a couple songs and wrote a couple songs, but for the most part, it was 60-70% all me on guitar and all the leads and everything. Yeah, but that was a hard rock record, very similar to a Babylon AD thing. So then when I did my soul album, I played everything. I played drums, bass, guitar, keyboards, everything. It took me a long time to make that record because, I'd always wanted to do that. In my mind, I was always like, well, if Prince could do it, I could do it kind of thing,
Right.
So it was like a challenge, in other words, So, and not that I couldn't reach out and find proper players and stuff like that. I just wanted to prove to myself and others that, hey, look, I could play everything, So, I did that record and then, jumped back into the Babylon AD. We got a record deal with Frontiers record again. So we had to do, I did the hard rock thing. And then, like I said, this was always bubbling up in the background, the Resonator Blues album with the blues. So it wasn't hard to make the transition at all,
And that's pretty cool. Now, the current single is called Mississippi Mud, correct?
Yeah, that's the current single. Yeah, it's still really good too.
Yeah, I love it. But out of all the songs that are on the album, which is your favorite and why?
I got two favorites, really. Mississippi Mud's a great track. I've had that for a long time. I like Whiskey and Water. I like them all, really, because they're like little kids, But if I had to pick my two favorites that I still listen to all the time, I would have to say Jesus Set Me Free and Penitentiary Bound. And both of those are really good, like ballady kind of storytelling type of songs, Pretty deep lyrical content. So let me see, what was I thinking? Penitentiary Bound is, that song's kind of like a cross between a couple of my brothers. You know, they both spent a lot of time in the jail and in the penitentiary and stuff like that, years, matter of fact. So I kind of took their stories and kind of meshed them into one, you know.
Right.
So that's pretty close to my heart, that song. And then Jesus Set Me Free is about a couple of brothers too that fought on the south side of the Civil War. So it's more like an anthem kind of story from their perspective, the way they saw the Civil War and how they fought and died and the things that happened to them, you know. So I really dig those kind of songs, and plus they're really different on the album, you know, compared to just a lot of slide guitar and harmonica, you know.
There's 12 tracks on the album, 10 of them which you wrote, but there is 2 cover songs on there.
Yeah.
It Hurts Me Too and Devil's Letter. What made you decide to choose those songs?
Well, Death Letter is something I've always kind of played. And on my Resonator, I've got a couple different Resonators, but it's one of the first songs I ever learned, and maybe about 15, 16 years ago on slide guitar. And I always wanted to do that song, man, because I just love Son House. I mean, Son House is like one of my heroes compared to like James Brown and Al Green or something, you know?
Yeah.
So, yeah, so I've always wanted to do that song, and it was like perfect fit for this album, you know? So I always knew I had that one. And then It Hurts Me Too is the same thing. I love Elmore James, you know? And I basically, you know, most of his slide guitar playing is kind of what I stole from, you know, and kind of learned off. I listened to a lot of Elmore James when I learned how to play slide guitar. So I probably know about 10 Elmore James songs, but that was the one I thought would fit on the record, you know, pretty well. They probably all fit, but I mean, you know, I kind of thought I did a slow one that was kind of, you know, just a little bit different. And a lot of people know the song, but some people don't, you know.
Do you find it easier now that you're a solo artist? You can just grab a guitar and you can just go do dates by yourself? I mean, do you enjoy
I do.
That more?
I just got back from Denver actually yesterday. I played a show with Babylon AD, a rock show at a concert hall, and then the next day I did an acoustic show. So I played Friday with the band Babylon AD, and then Saturday I played my acoustic show. And I did a lot of stuff off the Soul album and this new Resonator Blues album, and you know, some covers from Rod Stewart, things like that that I like. So yeah, it is easier, and to be honest with you, it's a lot more it's a lot more fun for me, you know, because I've been playing in Babylon AD for, you know, almost 30 freaking years, you know.
Right.
And sing the same damn songs every night, every time you play. You know, after a while, you just like, oh, okay, you know, you do it because the fan loves it and everything, yeah. But really, as an artist, it's you've already lived that, you know, you've already did it a million times, and you're just doing it again. So I always like the challenge of writing a new song and coming up with something a little bit different. So
yeah, I think the fans,
you know, I'm always
like
moving forward. I've already have like probably, if I had to guess, I'd say between 12 and 15 tracks written like for another album already, and they're not really bluesy at all. So I'm not really sure how they're gonna fit in with the next album, you know. So I just write songs, man, and however they come out. If I could get a batch enough of a soul or rock or, you know, whatever, this next batch sounds pretty much like an acoustic kind of thing, you know, right now. So who knows? I might put out like an acoustic album, you know, but I'm just going to keep on writing and see what happens.
Well, that's got to make doing live shows easy. I mean, all you got to do is bring a couple of your favorite guitars with you and just hit all the clubs and stuff, you know? Yeah,
it does make it a lot easier. And, you know, you can experiment more and things like that. I usually play with one of my friends, a guy named Kyle Bates, who's a really excellent guitar player, just to bring a little bit of meat to the plate, you know, make it sound just a little bit thicker, you know. Yeah. So I do my acoustic dates, but he probably plays about half of them, you know. So yeah, and then the other stuff I do with the band, and then I've got my other band, Hardcore Resonators, which is the blues band. And I wouldn't say just blues band, because we play a lot of soul and a lot of rock too, you know, but it's blues, soul, rock kind of, you know, old classic kind of rock, soul and blues, like fused together. You know, there's no heavy metal or anything like that, or there's no Babylon AD. It's really, it's really cool, man. There's slide guitar, there's some harmonica, and there's, you know, a lot of Bobby Womack and things like that. So Sly Stone get thrown in there with Elmore James, and then a lot of my own material. So that band really kicks ass, and that's a really fun band. We just put that together, and we got a bunch of dates coming up throughout the next 6 or 7 months. So I'm looking forward to doing that a lot.
Well, I heard a story about you. I don't know if it's true or not. I read somewhere once that you were thinking about giving up music and being a police officer. Is that true?
Wow, you're one of the only people that know that. I actually did, man. I applied for basically everywhere around the Bay Area, and I got three different places, counties wanted me, and it was kind of really weird because I had to pick one, and all in the same day I had to pick one because I passed all my exams and everything like that, and the recruiters were really bugging me, come to my place, come to mine, that kind of thing. But I picked Oakland just because they pay the most money, by about $20,000 more than everybody else. Uh-huh. And of course, picking Oakland means, everybody in your family and all your friends think you're totally nuts,
Of course.
But, so I went to the academy in Oakland, and about halfway through, the stuff I seen within the, few month period I was there, I just knew that I'd made a mistake. I'm a musician at heart. That's what I do. And here I was trying to be a normal person and give it all up and become a cop. Something I really wasn't.
Wow. How long ago was that?
Yeah. That was 2006.
Well, I'm sure.
Yeah. So it was about 13 years ago. Yeah. But, I'm glad I did it because even when I was a little kid, I either wanted to be a musician or a cop. That's what I wanted to do.
Right.
And so I became a musician, and then, I'm getting older. I'm like, well, I'm going to be too old to be a cop. Maybe I should try now, Mm-hmm. And at that time, I wasn't doing a lot of music, I was doing a little bit of L&D stuff, but I was like, I could give this up. I could just be a cop full time. But after, 6 or 7 months, I just couldn't do it. I had to go back to music. It was just eating me alive. I couldn't do it. I had to go back to music.
You went through the academy though, right? You passed everything and
yeah. Well, no, I quit during the middle of the academy. I was number 3 in my class, so they were really pissed off because, they put a lot of money in you.
Oh, I'm sure. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. So when I started, there was like 52 of us. And by the time I quit, there was probably like 26 of us.
Wow.
And I was number three in my class, and I was going to, you're with guys that are, a lot of them are ex-Marines and things like that. But I was keeping up with those guys and even doing better, because there's a lot of physical stuff that people don't know that you have to do when you're in the academy. They think it's just all like bookworks and numbers and things like that. That's just only half of it. The other half is, a lot of boxing, a lot of grappling moves and things like that, how to take down suspects and, there's a lot to remember, but at the same time, you got to take care of yourself because in Oakland, somebody's going to beat your ass,
Oh, yeah.
So, and it happens all the time. You got to really, really be healthy. And the one thing I tell you what, that it was like, thank God I'd quit.
Uh-huh.
It was a month after I quit, but I don't know if you remember this, but 4 officers were killed in Oakland by a perp. They all got shot in an apartment. And killed, mm-hmm. And they were. I don't know if you remember that or not, but it was a big deal. 3 of them were my training officers.
Oh wow!
So it was, and you know what? I'll tell you what. These training officers are badass dudes.
Yeah.
I mean, I would pick them in a fight on anybody, man. They were so tough, and they knew everything, and they still got shot, and killed.
That's terrible.
So it was kind of strange because, you kind of know these guys after a while, and you know a little bit about their lives, but you're like, wow, these guys, I mean, they can kick the shit out of 5 guys at one time. You know what I mean? That's why they were the training officers, guns and anything you can think of, grappling and all that kind of stuff, man. They can knock you out. They're basically the kings of the street, but, and they got taken down. So all my friends and my wife and, my relatives were like, see, that could have been you. You could have been with those guys when that happened, because they were part of the SWAT team. Right. And, so I'm glad I gave up.
Well, I'm sure all your fans are too. I mean, but things happen for a reason. I mean, maybe you just had to go through that experience to really see if you could handle doing it. You know what I mean? And you did it and you decided it wasn't for you. And look where you are now. You're having a successful solo career and putting out some great music. Everybody's loving it. I love it. Anybody who's interested in buying any of your music or checking out your shows, they can certainly go to your website, right? DerekDavisMusic.com.
Yeah, DerekDavisMusic.com, or they can join me on Facebook. Just go to iTunes, pop in my name. The records will come up. they want to purchase anything or they want to listen to something, you know, they can always go to Spotify or something like that. I've got a lot of videos out, you know, got 3 or 4 videos out for this record already, and I got 2 more coming. So they can go check out my channel, you know, Derek Davis Music. It's my channel. You know, everything's pretty easy to remember.
Cool, brother. Well, I appreciate you coming on, man, and great stories. I loved it.
All right, brother. Good talking to you.
All right, we'll talk to you soon, buddy, all right?
Okay, thanks, man.
All right, take care.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
I remember the nights sitting by the river's edge, beating on an old guitar, waking up the river's dead. And I remember the day be working for the railroad line, shoveling coal to feed the train, but like pitch on my face, Mississippi mud, muddy waters lay down the slide. Mississippi mud, muddy waters lay down the slide. Mississippi mud. Juke joint jumping and blues, Sunhouse preaching the news, hoochie coochie women in love, white boy can't get enough, little water blowing in time, muddy water screeching the wilds, mojo working through my veins, that boogeyman sure can pay. Mississippi mud, muddy waters lay down the slide. Mississippi mud, muddy waters lay down the slide. Mississippi mud, muddy waters lay down the slide. Mississippi mud. I remember the nights sitting by the river's edge, beating on my old guitar, buddy playing in my